Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to another talk session.
Hey Umar,
Asif
what's
and
new?
Maya. My new topic is the role of creativity in problem solving.
Okay. So, creativity, it's not just for artists, right? I mean, everyone says we need to think outside the box, but what does that even look like when you're like actually stuck on something? Is it about brainstorming a million ideas, or is there a more focused way to go about it?
What does creative problem solving mean?
Okay, so from what I've gathered, it's not just about having a ton of ideas, though that can help. It's more about approaching challenges with an open mind and looking for solutions that aren't immediately obvious. It's about reframing the problem, seeing things from different angles, and being willing to experiment, even if it means failing a few times. It's kind of like taking a bunch of Legos and not just building the castle the instructions tell you to, but seeing what else you can make with those same pieces. Does that make sense? It's about diverging, exploring lots of possibilities, and then converging, picking the best solution. What's your take on it?
Yes. How does
Gotcha.
creativity lead to a better solutions?
Right. So I think a big part of it is avoiding thinkiness of finksegwith, basically getting stuck, seeing things only for their traditional use, like only seeing a hammer as something to hit nails with instead of something you could use to gently tap something into place, or even as a paperweight in a pinch. Creativity forces you to look beyond the obvious. And then there's the whole thing with making connections between seemingly unrelated things. A lot of breakthroughs happen when someone takes an idea from one field and applies it to another. It's like people who are good at improv are usually pretty good problem solvers, you know? They're used to building on whatever is thrown at them. Does that line up with how you see it?
Why is creativity important in solving everyday problems?
Okay, so we talk about creativity for big world changing stuff, but honestly, it's way more useful for the little things. Like your headphones are tangled. That's a problem. There are a million ways to untangle them, some more creative and faster than others. Or you're trying to cook dinner with limited ingredients. Creativity helps you improvise. It's about resourcefulness, right? Being able to adapt and find solutions when things don't go as planned. I think it also just makes life less frustrating. If you approach everything with a little bit of a how can I make this work attitude, you're less likely to get bogged down. Would you say that's true for you?
What makes creative thinkers different in their approach?
It's a good question. Um, from what I understand, it's not necessarily about being smarter, although that can help, I guess. So it's more about a mindset. Creative thinkers seem to be more comfortable with ambiguity and uncertainty. hmm They're willing to take risks and try things that others might dismiss as silly or impractical. They're also really good at asking what if and challenging assumptions. They don't automatically accept things as they are. And they're often really observant, noticing details that others miss. Basically, they're less focused on finding the right answer and more focused on exploring all the possible answers. Does that sound about right? Do you notice that in people you know?
Yes. The next question is why is curiosity important for creativity?
Ugh, curiosity. It's like the engine that fuels the whole thing, isn't it? Seriously, if you're not curious, you're not going to start asking those what if questions. Curiosity pushes you to explore, to learn, to challenge your existing beliefs. It's wanting to know how things work, even if it doesn't directly benefit you. And that exposure to new ideas and information is essential for making those unexpected connections I was talking about earlier. It's like the more stuff you throw into the mix, more potential there is for something new to emerge. It's kind of nerdy, but I think it's awesome. What do you think? Are you a naturally curious person?
What role does imagination play in problem solving?
Okay. So, imagination is basically where the magic happens, right? It's the ability to create mental images or scenarios that aren't necessarily based on reality. And in problem solving, it lets you try out different solutions in your head before you actually implement them. You can visualize the potential outcomes, identify potential roadblocks, and refine your approach without wasting time or resources. It's like a mental sandbox where you can experiment and play. It also helps you to see things from different perspectives. If you can imagine yourself in someone else's shoes, you're more likely to come up with a solution that works for everyone. This is not just about dreaming up fantastical ideas, it's about using your mind to explore possibilities. Does that make sense?
What role does imagination play in problem solving?
You mean what role? Sorry,
Yes.
sometimes my
Yes.
transcription gets a little wonky. Anyway, imagination is basically where the magic happens, right? It's the ability to create mental images or scenarios that aren't necessarily based on reality. And in problem solving, it lets you try out different solutions in your head before you actually implement them. You can visualize the potential outcomes, identify potential roadblocks, and refine your approach without wasting time or resources. It's like a mental sandbox where you can experiment and play. Also helps you to see things from different perspectives. If you can imagine yourself in someone else's shoes, you're more likely to come up with a solution that works for everyone. It's not just about dreaming up fantastical ideas. It's about using your mind to explore possibilities. Does that make sense?
What mindset is needed for creative problem solving?
Okay. So, from what I've picked up, it's a pretty specific combo of things. You need to be open-minded, definitely. Willing to consider different perspectives and challenge your own assumptions. You also need to be comfortable with ambiguity and uncertainty. Not everything will be clear cut. Resilience is huge too, because you're going to fail sometimes and you need to be able to bounce back from that. A growth mindset is key. Believing your abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. And finally, you kind of need to be playful, willing to experiment and have fun with the process. It's not about being serious all the time. It's about embracing the messiness of exploration. Does that sound like a tall order? It kind of is.
Why do creative solutions stand out more?
That's a good one. I think it's partly because they're unexpected. Most problems have obvious solutions, but those aren't usually the ones that people remember. Creative solutions, on the other hand, are novel and surprising, so they grab our attention. They also tend to be more effective because they address the root cause of the problem rather than just treating the symptoms. And honestly, there's a bit of wow factor involved. People appreciate ingenuity and cleverness. It's satisfying to see someone come up with something truly original that feels smart, you know? Do you think that's right? Is it about the impact or just the novelty?
How can someone measure their creative growth?
Oof, that's tricky. Creativity isn't something you can easily quantify, like, I don't know, how many push ups you can do, but people do try. Number five, one way is to track the number of ideas you generate, even if most of them are bad. It's about flexing that creative muscle. You could also look at the originality of your ideas. Are you just rehashing old concepts or are you coming up with something genuinely new? Another way is to assess your ability to solve complex problems. Can you tackle challenges that used to stump you? Also, getting feedback from others can be helpful, although it's important to find people who will give you honest, constructive criticism. Basically, it's about looking for evidence of your ability to think differently and generate novel solutions. It's more of a qualitative thing, not a number. What do you think? Do you track your own creative progress in any way?
Thank you, Maya, for your helpful insights and everyone for watching. I'll see you in the next session. Until then, take care.